going on, everybody? Arda Ocal here for ESPN Esports. Want to give you a quick review of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. It is finally here. It feels like we've been waiting for this game for years upon years, for this kind of Star Wars game, and it is finally here. Had a chance to play it for a few hours before release, and here are my thoughts. So, it's been a long time since we had this kind of single-player campaign for Star Wars, and we're about in the middle of the relationship between the Star Wars franchise and EA, and this really is, it feels like a palate cleanser. It feels like the game that we've been waiting for, a really big step forward in terms of Star Wars games, particularly, EA releases. The first thing I want to mention to you is that the game looks absolutely gorgeous. My goodness, the graphics are outstanding in this game. The attention to detail, the main character, Cal, even the hair, the way it moves in the wind, and the detail on the cave walls and the walls themselves and on the enemies, just absolutely delightful. It really sucks you into the game. What I found was I was immediately wanting to continue on with this game. I wanted to devour the story and see it through to the very end, which is always very necessary in a single-player campaign. If you are a fan of games like Dark Souls or even God of War, you're definitely going to like this game from a gameplay perspective. It is a third-person experience, an action-adventure game, single-player campaign like we mentioned, but it has the vibes of those games that I just mentioned, so you're going to enjoy this one as well, even mechanically. Little bit wonky at times, the climbing, for example, and you got to get used to the lightsaber play, but you do get the lightsaber early, and it is very powerful, so that's a lot of fun, especially when you're learning in the beginning scene, which is very linear. It's basically teaching you how to play the game and the different mechanics involved, but it's a lot of fun, and that's when you really feel like the game is going to be a hit for you. If you are a fan, I'm going to compartmentalize this in different fan bases. So if you're a big fan of Star Wars, and Star Wars is your favorite franchise of all time, and you just consume everything Star Wars, you're going to play this game even if it's just for the story, even if you're not necessarily a fan of video games. So you can experience this game at varying degrees. You can play it at the Sekiro Shadows Die Twice level, which is extremely difficult. I think it's called Jedi Master, the most difficult setting for this game. But also, you can enjoy it as an enhanced cinematic experience. If you want to just have minimal combat, if you want to have minimal interaction, but you want to enjoy the story as if it's an interactive movie, you can do that as well, which is a welcome breath of fresh air for a Star Wars game. So I definitely enjoyed the fact that I could go through this experience any way that I wanted to. So, in terms of the plot and the story, this takes place roughly 5 years after Revenge of the Sith. So, in the movie release timeline, we're after the events of the third prequel, Revenge of the Sith, but we're still before A New Hope, which was the very first Star Wars movie released back in the late 70s. So that's where we are in terms of the timeline. It's a very rough time to be a Jedi. They've all but been wiped out from Emperor Palpatine, and really the Empire is high and mighty right now, and things aren't looking so good for the good guys. So Cal is the main character that you control, who is a Jedi, who has the Force, and basically he's been tasked to rebuild the Jedi Order. And so you go through different worlds, and you go through solving different puzzles and defeating different enemies, all in an effort to rebuild the Jedi Order. So going back to, if you're a big Star Wars fan, you're going to enjoy meeting the new characters along the way. You're going to enjoy the new storylines, the new twists. And so for that reason, you're going to enjoy picking up this game. If you are not a fan of Star Wars, you're still going to enjoy it. Like I said, Dark Souls, God of War has those vibes there, but also you're just going to enjoy the gameplay mechanics. I think that, there's wall running in the game, the lightsaber interactions. It's a lot of fun. So from a gameplay perspective, I would say that it's worth testing out, trying out as well. You're going to enjoy it even if you're not necessarily a Star Wars fan. If there was a different IP associated with the engine of this video game, I think that it would still be a very fun game. The story does drive it though, so which brings me to the group of people that I fall under, the ones that are Star Wars fans but also love video games, and maybe we don't know every single line in every single movie, but we still, shell out some money for custom droids like this. And by the way, there's a little bit of an Easter egg. An exact replica of this, minus the shape of the head, is in the game. See if you can find it. From that perspective, I enjoyed it too. I got invested in the story very early. I wanted to continue on with the game. I want to see it through because Star Wars stories are always so rich and always so compelling, and this one is no different. So I want to see where this goes. I want to see if Darth Vader is going to make an appearance. I want to see which familiar characters I'll see and which new ones I will meet. So this game did a good job of sucking me in very early to make sure that I play the game for hours on end. And the game is enjoyable. It's fun to play. It's fun to discover. It is not an open world game, so if you're expecting something like Zelda Breath of the Wild, this is not that, but it definitely has some exploration to it, so it will scratch that itch, just not in a complete open box that you can go around to whatever worlds you want. There definitely is a structure to this game. So overall, I say from a story perspective, from a mechanics perspective, this was a definite strong release from EA and Respawn. And with the Star Wars franchise, don't forget this is the first game that's actually being offered on Steam after that EA and Valve partnership that just that brings EA games back to Steam. So you can get this game. This is the first one of the partnership. You can get this game on Steam, get it on Origin as well. So overall, definitely worth picking up.
This is the price of your arrogance.